I'll get you to the show in a second, but first, how would you like to win this? A signed Liverpool home shirt. It's signed by Ibu Konate. To get your hands on this, very, very simple. Just make sure you're subscribed to us here on YouTube. We are on the road to 500,000 subscribers. We're very nearly there. Help us get there by subscribing right now. Just click the button below this video. Once you've done that, and once we get to the 500,000 subs, we'll do a draw, and one of you guys will win this amazing prize, like I say, signed by Big Ibu himself. Right, let's get on with the show. Hey everyone, welcome to the latest edition of the Redmen Podcast. Steve Hall here with Dan Clubb and the returning Chris Pajak. We've got one of the main guys back. Where's the other one?
No idea.
Any ideas? Just
no
got
idea.
missing.
Don't fancy it?
Yeah, he just doesn't. Yeah, he's just listen.
He's working the weekend, isn't he? He's working the weekend. Working Friday, Saturday, I think.
Beginning the match, yeah. So yeah.
He's got.
He's working the weekend.
He's got some stuff to do, which you might see if you're around the world on the Premier League channel, I believe.
Okay. There's where the gaffer is anyway. We've got one back. So anyway, Paul and Chris obviously were away last week in Las Vegas. Later on Podcast Extra, we're going to find out if what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
I was very concerned about Vegas because I make bad decisions when I'm drunk.
Save it. Podcast Extra. Find out the bad decisions that Chris Pajak made when we do Podcast Extra on Redmen Plus a little bit later on. Before we get to the kickoff question, a couple of other things. So I've got a bit of housekeeping to do. First of all, do you want to get your hands on this? You just probably saw it if you watched the pre-roll, but if you're listening live now, I'm holding up a signed Ibu Konate shirt. If you want to get your hands on that, all you got to do, you're watching on YouTube right now, just subscribe to the YouTube channel. When we hit 500,000 subs, and we're about less than 3,000 subs away from it. When we get to 500,000, we'll give this away to one of those people. So get yourselves involved in that one. If you listen to this on the podcast, just go to youtube.com/theredmentv. Subscribe. It won't cost you a penny. It's cheap and easy. Very, very simple. And you might get a signed share from Big Ibu, who we happened to just bump into last week and signed a share for us, which is absolutely sound. But 500,000 will be big for you, won't it, Chris, to be fair?
500,000, mate. I mean, it feels like we've been on the road to 500,000 literally for about 3 years now, because it was the next big marker. They tell, like, there's a website that you can go and check, and it will roughly tell you how long it's going to take you based on historical performance and subscribers and stuff. It's taken a bit longer than that, to be honest with you, but it's mad, because I remember the first 50,000 when you're walking around, like, looking at Anfield, and you're like, oh my God, this many people like subscribe to us on YouTube. 500,000's like not far off Liverpool, the city, which is just your head can't get round it. So it would be incredible if we got there.
Yeah, that's what I say. It doesn't cost you a penny. Simply press the subscribe button below us. Like I say, I think about 60% of people who watch on YouTube aren't subscribed according to the analytics. So if you're one of those, go and press the subscribe button, support the channel, and like I say, get yourself in the chance to win the Ibu shirt. Again, if you're listening to this, youtube.com/redmentv, and just click the subscribe button, get us to the 500,000 landmark, and we'll have got a few things planned for when we get there as well, which will be awesome. So the sooner we get there, the better. Dead quick. If you go over to the social account, we are hiring. We're looking for a new videographer as well. We're going to add to the team. So if you're a videographer, you've got experience with all that kind of stuff, check out the socials, and you can apply and come and work here with us. You might be able to be here when we hit that 500,000. Hopefully you're not. Hopefully we get there beforehand. Hopefully we get back. Hopefully we're there. Hopefully you're there when we hit 1 million.
Yeah, it's a better idea.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so if you want to, it's all over the socials. Dan's been posting up. So if you are a videographer, you're looking for some work in the Liverpool area, do hit us up. We've got you covered there. Right then, pure nepotism.
Is this your brother?
This is my brother.
Nice.
So Dan put on the Facebook page yesterday asking for kickoff questions, and I happened to just choose the one. I didn't realise at first it was my brother when I saw the question, but now it is my brother, and I'm happy with it. So shout out to.
When did you realise that it was your brother? When you read the name?
I don't.
The question wasn't going to give it away that it was your brother.
I just scanned when I'm picking the questions out. I just scanned the questions, and then I went, "Oh yeah, that's a good one." Then I realised it was our Rob, so I thought, "Yeah, whatever." So shout out to Big Rob Hoare. He's gone for the kickoff question. What are the best pair of footy boots that were ever made? Chris Pajak.
Come on, it's World Cups.
I don't.
Gotta be.
Explain more, please. Sorry.
Adidas World Cup.
Yeah, I'm onto what you mean.
I don't.
Yeah,
sorry,
come on. What do you want to go with? Patrick's? There is no other answer here. It's Adidas World Cups.
Just a plain black free stripe. I'm on Google Images now.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. What do you need? What more do you need than a pair of Adidas World Cup?
So essentially,
They've been going for about 50 years. They're classics. They're brilliant.
Someone's
and
made
there's
into a
nothing
shoe.
better.
Have they got a heel?
Gucci times Adidas. Oh my God, 785 quid. Gucci selling them as shoes.
Oh, yeah. Got them.
Get us to 10 million subs.
Come on, Adidas World Cup. Is there really another answer there?
Copa Mundial. Predators.
Yeah, they're nice. Predators, no, shite.
Oh, did you see Xavi Alonso's Predators?
Yeah.
For the Legends game. Oh.
Enough for the Legends game.
Oh my God.
Are they the new ones?
No, we had old school ones on, like Pulses, the gold. And him strutting around Anfield in them was... Oh, there's a picture of him celebrating in front of the Kop, the Cinnamon Pongo winner. And it is just everything. That is just, honestly, it's everything. Him, arm in the air, beating Man United with them on. Oh, God.
We could delete.
Does things to me, that, yeah. Does things to me.
Mine, I brought them on screen now. These are like the newer version of them. When I was a kid, I had these.
Oh no, they're
Wow.
like the Ronaldinho or
Ronaldo. Mercurial R9s.
Yeah, they're terrible.
So if you're listening to the podcast, they were white and blue with like
Terrible.
yellow highlight. Mate, I had a pair of those right, and I thought I played right back. I had no business wearing them.
No.
And I went to a game.
I've also seen you play. You had no business. Didn't matter where you were playing.
I was decent.
You
I
had
was
no
right. I was
business. So what happened? You just get worse and worse and worse.
Found alcohol, didn't I? At the age of like 16.
Because they found out.
Found out ale and girls and stuff, but like the old that old chestnut. But no, I had them, and I took them to a game once, and I used to have, obviously I'd have moldies and I'd have studs, and they were like mouldy blades, and I turned up to this game and it was like a bog of a pitch, so I threw my old Umbros on with the studs, and someone fucking robbed them on the sides of the pitch in the JD bag he was, and some lads without us knowing robbed them our 6 pair of footy boots. My I9s got nicked. I was so upset. I was about 15, I think.
Where were
14.
they? Late 90s? They like 98?
Yeah, like I think at the time I would have been about a bit younger actually. I might have been about 12, 13, and someone robbed them off me. And I was devastated. My mum and dad were fuming like they paid a fair bit of money for them, but they always and also I love Ronaldo. I'm looking forward to his documentary that comes out in a few weeks as well. That'd be awesome as well. So, I'm going for them. Let us know. Like I've got in the live chat right now. We've got Pete who's gone for just the Puma Kings.
Yeah, they're good boots. Good
and
solid
Richard's
black boot with white. That's perfect
Simple.
for me.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Simple
That's
things.
what I want. I fucking hate coloured boots. I know that everyone wears them now, but I like the guy who's wearing the black boots. Actually, why did Harvey Elliott go from black boots to red boots in the Champions League against Ajax? Did anyone know?
It might have been a mouldies to studs situation.
Yeah, I think it was.
That's often.
But he went black boots to red boots. I think it was red he went to. And I think I might have been the only person, because I was like, oh, he's wearing black boots, what a guy.
I think in the first half, was he wearing the same colour boots as someone else or something? Because I kept getting them confused. No, in the second half when he changed, I think I was like, I was on the watch along, and I do remember thinking it done my head in a little bit, because that's one of the ways you can tell, because of the camera angle at Anfield now. It's really difficult sometimes to tell who you're looking at, so the boots is often a giveaway. But yeah, let us know if you're not watching this live. Use the comment section. What are the best pair of footy boots of all time? And tweet us if you listen to the podcast. Shout out to Big Rob Hall for the question. Nepotism exists in this world. Being my brother got him into the agenda.
It's not what you know, it's who you know.
I mean, I literally got this job probably on that basis, to be fair, thanks to Mr. Chris Pajak. Right, we're going to be looking ahead to what's going to be a mental October for Liverpool. We've got 9 games, like 29 days. Absolutely crazy. A little bit later on, we'll be jumping in on the Trent Alexander-Arnold debate again, the hot topic of conversation all over social media and all that kind of stuff. And Trent obviously left out of the England squad completely, and they are so good at footy that they can leave Trent Alexander-Arnold out. So we're going to touch on that a little bit later on. But first, I want to give you guys a shout out about our newest documentary. So here is a clip from German Scousers.
So Marcus Babbel, first and foremost, he was a powerful player. He improved that squad, but not only did he improve it with his ability on the pitch, but I think that winning mentality that he brought into the dressing room made them better, because he come from a side in Bayern Munich that got to Champions League finals, of course, and win domestic league titles. Just that winning mentality, I think, helped us and propelled us to that treble in 2001. Size for he's just broke.
In the break, producer side. 5, 4, 3, 2. Behind the scenes, look, yeah, our producer just hit puberty. That's why, yeah, fair enough. If you want to get involved with German Scousers, go over to redmenplus.com. A documentary looking at the impact of Liverpool the city and Liverpool the football team on German culture and vice versa. Some of the best imports that Germany have had to offer over here to Liverpool. Get yourself involved. It's streaming right now on redmenplus.com. It's worth the subscription fee alone, but obviously when you sign up, not only will you get access to that, but you get every bit of content we've ever done over there. Loads of documentaries and interviews, features, that kind of stuff. And like I say, all the upcoming stuff for these essentially 9 games in 29 days that we're about to talk about now, which is Chris Pajak. Quite ludicrous, really, if you think about it, because
mental.
No, this is what we always knew it was going to be a truncated season, but what was really odd about it was that the start of the season wasn't. There were big breaks in between games. There was a lot of breaks in between games. Obviously, the 2 cancellations that Liverpool have suffered way into that. It feels like we haven't played for fucking ages, because we haven't. But we are about to go from, like, you know, out the frying pan into the fire. 9 and 29 is a tough ask for any football team. But when you're playing catch up in the, it can be really, really difficult for the Reds.
Yeah, but I think this is the part of the season where Liverpool have been aiming to get to. You know, we're quite fortunate in some ways that some of the lads are coming back from injury for this period, because had we had it earlier on in the season, we'd be looking at it going, oh, mate, we've got no midfielders, we've got no frigging substitutes, we've hardly got a team we can put out. So in some ways, it's actually played into our hands a little bit. But I also feel like the sports science side of things, and this is just guesswork, of course, has been building up to October. You know, when it comes to it, this is what the lads have been aiming at. They need to make sure that they get themselves up and the wheels spinning, but they need to hit top form for October, because this is where, like the Christmas period, in seasons gone by, you can win and lose a league over the Christmas period. Now we're having that Christmas period really, really early, and this is the most important part of the season for Liverpool now. And
also, Dan, I'm going to bring the games on screen now. Obviously, for those listening along, I'll read them out very quickly. So between October 1st, when we play Brighton at home, we've then got Rangers at home in the Champions League, Arsenal away in the league, Rangers away in the Champions League, Man City at home in the league, West Ham at home in the league, Forest away in the league again, Ajax 5th of 6th Champions League game, away, tough game, and then home against Leeds United. 9 games, like I say, in a 29-day period. Chris is right, Dan, in that not only can the league be won, you can't win the league in October, but you can lose it, but you can be out the Champions League as well. Because usually we always say we're going to play Napoli in match day 6, and it's always like late November, December time when that last Champions League game. The Champions League group stage actually ends on November 1st as well. Like, if they go glass half full, if it all goes right, Liverpool have set themselves up for a really, really strong season. On the other foot, if it goes tits up, your season's gone. Yeah. In terms of like winning one of the major 2 trophies, like, it's such an... Chris is right, it's almost like they've just brought Christmas forward 2 months. The make or break time of the season is now before Halloween.
Yeah, it's mental. In years gone by, Chris alluded to it there, we have been sort of geared up towards this sort of chaotic schedule, and we've come through it really well. I remember looking a few seasons now on the run whereby, God, that October looks tough, November looks tough, and you get to the end of it and we've won every game, and you think, God, we've absolutely bossed that. So I do think that will be sort of the aim for this season as well. It just so happens that our form going into it has been miles off it, so we're not really in a position. It's more make or break than ever before now. Like, we're in a position whereby we can't win anything necessarily. We can get ourselves back into the fight potentially for the Premier League, and we can give ourselves a shout for the Champions League, but we can most certainly be done in both. You are right, but at the same time, we have got players just coming back at the right time. We're looking at a few potentially, maybe Andy Robertson, you know, Canate, obviously you mentioned him before. They could be back and involved now, but we've also got players back in fitness who needed games and needed a bit of time, like Thiago, Jota, Virgil van Dijk has just got a bit of form as well away with Holland. So I'm actually really optimistic going into this little schedule. It is chaos, like 9 and 29 is ludicrous, like, but at the same time, I actually think we play our best football in these little periods. I think a game every 3 days suits us down to the ground. When we come back from a break, that's normally at our worst. So I actually feel if we can get a momentum and start well on Saturday is the key. If we can build up some sort of head of steam, we could come out of this smelling the roses potentially.
I think Jürgen always talks about how he likes to have the time on the training pitch, but I think if you ask the footballer, they just like to get into sides of the games. They just want to play, especially when you're in form. It's important to just keep that momentum going, isn't it? I think the other thing when you look at these 9 games is we've been really lucky with regards to Champions League draw. You know, the fact of the matter is we've got an hour flight up to Glasgow for one of our away games. In the middle of that, it's 2 hours to Holland. It's not Napoli, which could have been 4 hours. You know, even and the group's quite close together anyway. We didn't get any Eastern European sides, so yes, we've got a difficult group. And I know Rangers is probably tougher for us than for Napoli and for Ajax because of the rivalry between the two clubs, both being British sides, etc., etc. But it is close. It does make it a little bit easier. When you look at the away games we've got, they're not far away, and that's got to count for something. You know, travel time, etc., rest time. And everyone in the top 4 who's hunting for it is going to be in the same boat as us. They're going to have 9 games. Like, we're a team that over the last few years has historically done really well with those 2 games a week, back to back to back to back. So we just need to be able to do that and be better than the others at it. You know, it's not about winning every game. It's about gaining points on your rivals, because I don't think anyone can come through this with getting whatever it would be, 18 points in the league and 3 points and 3 wins in the Champions League. I just don't think that's going to happen. So it's, can you gain ground on the others? That's what tells you whether you've had a good period or not.
I agree. On the injuries thing, we'll speak about some of the specific games in a moment, because I'll completely again, like say, playing Man City in this run, that's one way to gain some ground back. And we'll just touch on that in a minute, Dan. But like you mentioned, Ibu, we literally bumped into him today and he said he was fine.
We did.
Andy Robbo should be there or thereabouts. Henderson just had a couple of minutes for England the other day, so he's now back. You referenced Thiago back.
Yeah. So we're having a bit of a break as well.
We should have Arthur into the mix for this as well, because obviously he didn't travel anywhere and he's stayed behind and trained extra and stuff like that as well.
The only one, again, there's a chance, again, who knows what happens with it's still international games and stuff. Mo Salah's had a break because Egypt sent him home after the game. Like, in a way, Dan, is that because we've had all these injuries, that our lads actually who haven't got the minutes in the legs that they might have had in them, you know, if that makes sense. Yeah. Like, over the course of the season, Liverpool will have a target of minutes that they don't want anyone to go past. The fact that, like, for example, Ibu's got none. Yeah. You know, there's no tread on the tyre, so if he is good to go once he's up to rhythm, even though there's 9 games, Ibu could start 6 of them because there's no mileage on the clock. He's ready, willing to go. So by just about,
doesn't quite work like that though. I mean, you do have to build up to being able to play all 6 in a run.
He's in and out the team. But I'm saying it might not be in for one, out for one, in for one. It could be right. You can play 2 out for 1, out in for 3.
Even
whatever.
half an hour increments here and there. It's going to be
5 subs helps, but by just about, I mean, barely, Dan, hanging on to the coattails of everybody else, because we're 1 result away in both competitions really from being really up against it. Liverpool have got themselves into a position where, right, everyone, again, I think it's just Oxen, Naby, maybe Curtis is touch and go. We can make a real big assault on this one now, kind of thing. We just about kept on the coattails.
Yeah, 100%, yeah, and I think it's interesting. We have got ourselves in a situation whereby we could have a lot of players back available. Obviously, Joe Gomez and Joel Matip didn't travel anywhere either for this international break, so there are still games to play tonight, so we don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. But I tweeted something similar yesterday, and quietly look like we're getting ourselves a squad. And it's a really good point, the 5 subs one, because I touched on it on a show last week, I won't remember which one, and it's something we've campaigned for, and Jurgen Klopp has been like the figurehead for a long time, and it's been no advantage to us whatsoever this season. Like, we've had 2 keepers on the bench for the majority of the time, and the rest of it's been full of kids, so we've had no sort of perks of being able to use 5 subs.
It was only really Bournemouth where it was
by that
just
point
the
it
rest
didn't matter.
Yeah,
we were bringing on the kids for the sake of it, weren't we, by that point? But now it looks like we might have a squad that could potentially impact games, so I think it's going to be huge for us. And I mean, Nunes has played a fair amount of football, but this international break, I mentioned Van Dijk before, and not because he's played 180 minutes, but he strikes me as someone who needed 180 minutes. He needed 2 clean sheets, because not to say his confidence has been hit, but he probably did need a little bit of form and a bit of a boost. And Darwin Núñez potentially the same. He's played 90 minutes. If he scores, for instance, tonight for Uruguay, that's another little boost. So things are starting to come together slightly in probably the most important time of the season for us.
Yeah, and sometimes you just need a break. Sometimes, like, you know, I was thinking about this last night, and, you know, I flicked onto the England game and stuff, and, like, it's nice sometimes to just get out of your normal patter, isn't it? And just, like, you know, they say a change of scenery or whatever the phrase is, as good as a rest. Yeah. And when you're in that intense, you know, almost prism of Liverpool Football Club with all eyes looking at you all the time, 365 days a year, nice to just get away, play footy with a few different lads for a bit, come back to it fresh and ready to, as you use the words, like, assault the league.
Absolutely. I'm going to bring the table up here on screen for those listening on. I'll go through. But Liverpool are in 8th position at the moment on 9 points. They are 9 points behind leaders Arsenal. 8 points behind Manchester City, although again Liverpool do have that game in hand. Although don't count your chickens, because a game at Stamford Bridge isn't one that you guarantee 3 points from. So by the end of it, Chris, like ideally you want to have closed that gap really to maybe like 3-4 points rather than the big gap it is now. One way Liverpool can do that, especially to Man City, and I've said this a few times now on previous shows, but like you've got to beat them at home. Like that is such a big, because the start we've had, drawing at Fulham, drawing at Palace especially, games that Liverpool really should do better in. Like, to be honest, you can draw the derby and you can lose at United sometimes. That can happen, but probably those first two in particular means you've got to make a result up somewhere else. That's a 6 point swing. City have done well to walk away from Anfield quite often with a point, and they'll take that every day because they'll back themselves to win at the Etihad, which occasionally it's done sometimes you've drawn there.
Yeah, they beat the Josh, win the league.
Yeah,
and that's what they're
just
about.
Don't give Liverpool that big swing.
No, because if Liverpool get that, they get the confidence of beating Manchester City as well, don't they? And they feel like they're all of a sudden breathing down the neck again, and you're almost into the season's gone by. Now the problem we've had recently, really, or over the last few years, is they're really good at dealing with that pressure. They are, and they look like they're a better side now than they were maybe even a couple of years ago. Manchester City, where I think there's question marks still over whether Liverpool are. They've got the finisher there in Erling Haaland, but if you can beat them, you give everyone that little bit of confidence in the squad that you can go on and do that little bit more. Like, don't pin your hopes on a Manchester City win. Again, for us, but like it's a do not lose match, because you can still make points up elsewhere.
But that's going to be a key by the time we've got to get there, because before that, and the week before, like I say, Arsenal are currently the best team in the league. Yeah. They are in terms of...
I find that interesting, because that's at the Emirates and they're in good form, and do they play a way that maybe suits Liverpool a little bit here?
Theoretically, Jurgen Klopp has owned Arsenal. Like we've just battered them.
Well, that's factually.
Yeah, the first half of that fixture last year was really even, wasn't it? I remember we dominated the second half though and blew them away. And you are right, we have got a very good record over them. And I think you're right, actually. I think the way Arsenal on them teams now, they're almost that far beyond where they were previously. They have to come out and play against us. They won't be allowed, especially at home, they won't be allowed to sit back. So I do think that game suits us a little bit.
But the flip side is they're a good team. So Liverpool have got two tough games there, and they're surrounded. Chris, you mentioned before about the Rangers stuff. So we play Rangers at home and then Rangers away in between. So it's Rangers at home, Arsenal away, Rangers away, City at home. Theoretically, I always say you want the double header against the worst team in the group. The fourth pot is always what you want, because it can, again, let Ajax and Napoli do whatever they do to each other, hopefully take points off each other, whatever, and you just go about getting yourself 6 out of 6. Theoretically, that's what you say, but you are right to reference. I've watched both group games against the other oppositions, because the way it's worked out, I've been able to, obviously, and they've been really poor. But I think there is something in the whole Scotland, England, Britain thing.
It's going to be a thing. And Jurgen Klopp's not going to care about it either, because he doesn't care about the derby. How many times have we seen him put fucking a shit side out against Everton because he doesn't respect them? And maybe it's not because he doesn't respect them, but he knows there are other games that are more important. It wouldn't surprise me if it's 2 very, very tough games, and it wouldn't surprise me if the sides are all geared towards Arsenal, Manchester City, and the Rangers games have squad players in them, and we just about maybe squeak over the line in there, because that's what Jurgen will do. I think he'll put a side out. He'll put the worst side that he believes can win the game out and save the big guns for the Arsenal and the City game, because he has to. Yeah,
I'm again, Group A in the Champions League. Napoli are top, 2 wins out of 2. Liverpool are second, one win, 3 points, same as Ajax. Obviously, our goal difference is worse, but we are above Ajax based on the head-to-head record of it. But like I say, Dan, the fact that Napoli and Ajax are playing each other, I mean, to be honest, the best thing for Liverpool might just be Napoli win both of them. We beat Rangers twice, and before you know, it's almost like jobs are good. And you can
6 points ahead of Ajax to play.
You go into Ajax, no one drawing us around like that. That could be the best way. It probably won't.
No,
we all know something's going to be on that Napoli home game, because it's
away.
Groundhog Day again. You know what I mean? There will be something, but again, going back to the fact that it is again and again.
Fucking hell, we got 18 points last season.
We did, yeah.
And now we're struggling. It's so annoying.
It is. It was probably
a similar group. It was a group of death, wasn't it? It was billed as to begin with, yeah.
But like I said,
everyone else. but us.
Yeah.
Yeah, like call an ambulance, but not for me. It was one of those ones. Rangers it is going to be tough, but there's no getting away from it. They've been battered in a couple of games recently. Absolutely snotted. Celtic beat them. Napoli smashed them everywhere. Ajax smashed them everywhere. Liverpool could, like Chris says, if everything goes right, go into both the games against the two best teams in the league at the moment in terms of the table on the back of comprehensive wins. That again, you saw Chris mentioned before about building up momentum and building up rhythm and building up just a feel-good factor. There's a big chance for Liverpool to do that with those two games, get themselves in a very strong position where hopefully the Ajax and Napoli games are less important because again, talk about saving legs and stuff. It could be they're two really key fixtures. Like Liverpool again, they're not must win because you can still get out the group by not winning them. I get that, but in terms of making life a whole lot easier down the line, 6 points.
You get two
Rangers.
wins, and Napoli get 2 wins. You need to draw against Ajax.
Yeah, 6 wins. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You can do yourself a big old favour here by beating Rangers twice.
100%. Obviously, on paper, we all know that should be the case, but there's definitely an added ingredient in terms of the British thing. Like I think we all said it, we all know it, and especially up there, the Anfield game might be slightly different. And I always think you are right about the pot 4 thing, but I always think win your home games in Champions League group. I think that's absolutely key. And if you can do that, you get through sort of 9 times out of 10. So, and even now, when I was growing up, there was always a big sort of pressure on finishing top in Champions League group. I'm not sure that exists as much anymore because we've seen how many times in that next phase do you end up getting an absolute European powerhouse by finishing top because they come second, you know what I mean? So I'm not sure that's as important as it was. For me, I just think get out of this group whichever way shape we can, especially after match day 1. If you can get beat like that in Napoli and still qualify, then I'm not arsed that we do it, quite frankly. You just got to get out of there. But yeah, I think I agree with you, Chris. I think we'll scrape through both Rangers games. I can't see it being comprehensive because even though we are far better than them in terms of our quality, I just think they'll be too up for it. I just don't think we blow them away either time, and I just think it's going to be a hard slog of a month, quite frankly, but I do back us to get through it.
That's the thing, innit, Chris, to tie Bowen a little bit, is that I'm with you. Jürgen kind of often contradicts himself a little bit because he always says, time on the training ground and all that, but then he also speaks about rhythm. And I've always felt Liverpool are at the best. And there's been Decembers where we've just won like 8 games, just because winning becomes a habit. And other teams, this is where having a big squad can help you because other teams are on the last legs and you've got better players on your bench. The 5 subs thing, Liverpool last season, Chris, were really good at winning games off the bench. They haven't been able to do that this season so far because of the injuries. If they have got a relatively fully fit squad, and we'll lose players along the way. You're not going to play 9 games in 29 days without losing 1 or 2. But that's another positive for us, is that there are games there with all just Forest away, Leeds at home, Rangers even, where
the problem with them is they're quite far down the month.
Yeah, but if
the bigger games are early.
Yeah, that's true. And City and Arsenal got decent squad, but we've got a better squad than Arsenal. City's a different one, of course. It's very even, but that could be a major factor in this. That's what you always talk about, Liverpool getting on runs in these months. Often it is because they've been able to make the changes. Divock Origi's just dropped in for 2 games and won one of them and got us a goal in the other or whatever. It feels like, again, with all the injuries coming back, that could be a huge factor in this. This is where Liverpool's squad depth, in theory, if everyone can be fit on the quality of the squad, you can really flex those muscles, where Arsenal haven't really got that per se. They've got decent options, but not brilliant. The teams above us in the league right now, with I'm looking at the Premier League table for starters. Brighton are above us at this point in time. Fulham, it's crazy. You should see a drop off where Liverpool can start rising up based on just the pure strength of the squad.
Yeah, you should do. But I think that where I'm struggling at the moment as a fan is that I believe that Liverpool can go on a run and they can get probably 8 wins and a draw from these 9 games. But this season, they've shown me no evidence of it. And I think that needs to be respected as well. Yeah. We are judging them on last season, the season before, but right now we're not that team. We need to get back to being that first and foremost, and you've got to fight for that. You're not just handed that on a platter when you turn up to a football field. You've got to work at it. You've got to put the hard yards in on the training ground, and you've got to translate that onto the football pitch. So I think it's easy, especially after such a big break, to consider us the team that we were, and look how well we did when we were in rhythm and stuff. The evidence this season suggests that we can't do 9 games in 29 days and put that run together. So they need to show us and prove to us each and every step of the way that they're able to deliver on that. I think they've got it in them. I do, but they need to start showing it quickly. Yeah. They really do, because otherwise we're out of both, and that's the season done. You get about 4 years from a squad to win titles with. right? And maybe 5 with this squad. Walking away with 1 title in 5 years would be massively disappointing with this squad of players. And, you know, I know that we had the injuries, you piss a league season away because of that. But there's too many of that. There's too many of the seasons just gone before you even know it. Like, we need to capitalise early in this run.
That's where the pressure comes from, Dan. Like I say, in times gone by, you look at it and go, well, if you can get, like, you know, win 6, draw a couple, loss here and there, you're like, oh yeah, you'll take that. But that, because of the poor start, Chris mentioned before, you've got to try and close a gap. There is huge pressure on Liverpool now because they dug themselves a hole by the start of the season, losing at Old Trafford against the poor Man United side. Obviously, the Derby draw, which was, again, not ideal. I keep going back to Fulham and Palace. They're just absolute killers as well.
Just stop conceding the first goal.
Yeah.
Look at the league table, mate, by the way. 15 goals for, 6 against. Take the Bournemouth win out of it. You've got level goals for and against. That is not Liverpool Football Club, not under Jurgen Klopp. No. That is not something that we're about. And conceding those first goals is killer because everything's based off this solid base of a team where you can get goals. Think back to the start last season, we won 4-5-0. What seemed like every single week, that rhythm's not there yet. That rhythm's nowhere near there, and the defence looks a lot shakier. There's a point during every season where the high line's an issue and it flicks a switch and we're all right. That switch needs to be fucking hammered quickly because we can't keep going a goal behind because we can't score enough goals at the moment to get back into those games and win them consistently.
Yeah, that again, for me, it points towards our inability to change games from the bench and stuff like that. You are right in there needs to be a serious mentality switch, because I've said it on the past and shows in here, like, the only us and Man City can go on like a 15-game winning run in the Premier League, but you are right at the same time that we look like a million miles away from doing that right now. So it's easy to say, but put into practice at the minute looks nigh on impossible. So, but we do have the players that are proven capable of doing that, and Jurgen Klopp is a capable manager of doing that. So I still have optimism that we can challenge, but you are right in as much as that the games previously that haven't really hurt us. We go to Goodison Park, we draw, so be it. Old Trafford's always been, even under Klopp, apart from last year, has been a bit of a nightmare for us.
Always tough sledding.
Yeah, of course it is, yeah. So to go there and lose, you think, but then you look at other games, you think, we need to put them teams away. So things aren't clicking right now, and there's absolutely no two ways about that. But I don't know, there's just something in me that says it's going to happen, and this little break, this prolonged break that we've had now could be the ideal time to put it right. But we are now, in previous years, we've been looking at this period and going, okay, we can really get ahead of our competitors now. We can move a few points clear of City. It's not that anymore. It's we can maybe get within touching distance, and that's the difference.
Yeah, the year we won the title, this is where we started pulling away. Where the games come thick and fast, and Liverpool just won them all.
How many late winners have we had in the past as well? Sorry to interrupt. We've had late winners, and we don't look like, we've done it once or twice, but right now, and I think it's just down to options off the bench. We don't look like a side that's capable of doing that so far.
No, I'm with you. I agree. The Liverpool won a lot of games off the bench last season. The strength in depth up front and all that got them to a point where they were on the brink of history. Really, obviously didn't quite get there. But yeah, I'm with you. Hopefully, all these squad options being back and fit and available will get us over the line. Right, going to take another quick break. We'll be back after we've give you these quick messages with a debate about Trent Alexander-Arnold, because he's been in the news a lot this week for various reasons. We'll be chatting about that in just a couple of minutes' time. See you then.
Hey, do you like amazing Liverpool signed stuff, memorabilia, things that you can hang on the wall of your bedroom, your living room, your man cave, your woman cave, wherever you want? Well, we've got an amazing competition to win a signed Steve McMahon and Ronnie Whelan Liverpool 88-89 away shirt. Yes, you heard that all right, as many words as it was. If you want to be in with a chance of winning this competition, it's the last few days to enter. You've got to head to redmenplus.com. If you're an existing Club Captain subscriber, upgrade your subscription to Club Legend. Or if you just want to come in from the cold straight to Club Legend level, then your name will be in the hat for that amazing, incredible, unique, one in the world type prize. Each and every month we give away amazing stuff like this, and you will be in the hat each and every month as a Club Legend subscriber on redmenplus.com, as well as a whole host of amazing extras like the content that we give you. And as a Club Legend, you get free merchandise discount codes, first refusal on Redmen live event tickets, and access to our Club Legend Discord chat as well. So yeah, boss stuff and a chance to win boss prizes. Head over to redmenplus.com and get involved.
Right, there you are, going to get yourselves involved. Win a signed shirt by Ronnie Whelan, who Chris has spent a lot of time with over the past week. Save it for podcast extra. Want to learn what Chris Pajak, Bruce Grower and Ronnie Whelan get up to in Vegas? That'll be on podcast extra. But yeah, get that signed shirt. Ronnie Whelan, Steve McMahon. All you got to do is be a Redmen Plus Club Legends subscriber. You've got 3 days or so left of the month, so get yourselves involved and we'll do the draw early on October for the winner. And like I say, we've given away some amazing signed shirts. We've given away a Phil Thompson signed shirt, Jamie Carragher and Emil Heskey signed shirt. We've given one by the whole Liverpool goalkeeping staff. We've got 2 legends here. We've got some amazing prizes coming up between now and Christmas as well. So
it's a really nice way to reintroduce us, wasn't it? Got 2 legends here, Chris, Dan. Fantastic, thanks Steve. Really appreciate that one.
You guys are absolute best as well. Get yourselves involved, redmenplus.com. Right then, 2 legends with me. Trent stuff, Chris, has been interesting. I'll be honest. No, it's been interesting watching it. I don't care. I'm not one of these. There are Liverpool fans who hate England, and there are Liverpool fans who support England. I'm neither. I am very much down the middle, which is a weird place to be in society for any in these days. Very few people are just down the middle. Everyone's so opinionated and polarised. I don't care if England win, if they lose, good luck to them, whatever. But I wanted to speak about the Trent stuff because it's been fascinating just looking at it again from an observer. I haven't really weighed in on it because, again, whatever, who cares? And it actually might be good for Liverpool if Trent doesn't kill himself playing in stupid Nation League games. But it feels very disrespectful, some of the comments I've seen about Trent Alexander-Arnold as well. For context, he was obviously left out of the England game against Germany that took place last night because he can't defend. England did well, conceding 3 goals. He obviously misses the Euros just gone because he was injured. There's now serious doubts about him, given the fact he didn't make that squad, in terms of getting to the World Cup as well. It just feels like this narrative around Trent Alexander-Arnold, and I understand he's not been in good form, but like Gareth Southgate's clearly not picking players based on their club form because, with all due respect to Harry, in fact, with no due respect to Harry Maguire, he was in the team. Luke Shaw doesn't play for Man United. He was playing. It does feel like, again, the whole Trent discord is just something that has caused a lot of column inches. I think what's weird is that a lot of pundits, ex-players are like, I can't believe Trent isn't anywhere near this. But there's a lot of supporters who are like, oh no, he's shit, he can't defend, he shouldn't be in the team anyway. It is weird seeing that, those two, again, different polarising views. Yeah, because you've got Match of the Day fans and you've got people who get their opinions off other people. Like, if you get your opinions off other people, you're a knobhead, full stop, like, as far as I'm concerned. If you can't make your own mind up on someone, if you're not grown up enough to be able to watch games and then make your mind up, fine. Like, I understand, everyone's got opinions one way or the other, but at least make them your own. Don't just listen to pundits who say, oh, he's crap, and therefore that's it. No, because he was a legend for my club, so he must be a great scout. Well, he's not a fucking scout, is he? You know what I mean? He's never worked in football other than being a footballer. That doesn't actually mean you're good at management or you're good at scouting players or anything else, does it? You know, you've got to watch the games. You've got to look with your own 2 eyes. You've got to make a decision. People watch it and think he's crap at defending. You can't help them. No. But equally, who are you trying to fucking convince on Twitter that they're going to change their mind? Like, no one changes their mind on Twitter. It's not for that. It's a fucking cesspit of opinions one way or the other. It's not a conversation. It's just people shouting into the abyss over and over and over again. It's mental. Like, and what is anyone really asked as a Liverpool fan if he doesn't play? I think anyone really asked him? I don't think people are asked if he plays for England. There obviously are some England fans who support Liverpool. Yeah, that goes out saying, of course there are. I know some of them big England fans, but I think more of it, Dan, is that it's sticking up for their lad. Like, you had disrespect. Like, fair enough, if you think Reece James was better than Trent Alexander-Arnold, fair play, they're both very good footballers. If you think Kyle Walker's better than Trent Alexander-Arnold, fair play, both excellent footballers. You know, they've won titles between them. You know, 2 of them have won European Cups. Like, they are good footballers. You know, Kieran Trippier, you can't argue he's a good footballer. I think where the umbrage gets taken is the way people talk about Trent. It almost feels like everyone's gone too far the other way. Like, well, we must stick up for them, you know what I mean? And then I see people saying, well, Reece James is shit or Kyle Walker's shit. It's like, well, they're not. No. You know, they're not. England have got good options at right back. It isn't the best position in the world to be really stopped at. England don't even play a formation that Trent Alexander-Arnold plays in. Yeah. So, like, what the fuck? That's like, if they were playing a flat back 4 and not selecting him, I'd be like, look, Trent's the best right back in the fucking world.
100%, yeah.
But he doesn't actually play right midfield.
Yeah, because Kyle Walker plays in that three, doesn't he? Plays as part of a three normally, and then it's a different right back. So it's it's a difficult one, and I'm with you. I'm pretty indifferent on the whole situation, but you are right. Liverpool fans do support England, some of them, so there is definitely a conversation to be had there. And for me, it is a case. And what I boil it down to is, how does he feel? Because he clearly wants to be a part of these squads. Like, he'd have retired from international football if not, wouldn't he? You know what I mean? And there's a World Cup coming, and we can only guess, we can only surmise that he wants to be a part of it. And
of course, he missed the Euros with injury.
Exactly.
He'd have seen all that, the euphoria of his teammates getting to within one kick of winning, and he would have been.
He wants to be part of it. He's a professional footballer, isn't he? Of course, yeah, but I don't know if he will be, and I think it comes down to the fact that Southgate got the job on being a bit of a yes man, a bit of a company man. Like, that's how he got it, and I think it's Trent, and it's also the likes of Jack Grealish. He took him forever to pick him because he's a little bit eccentric. He's a little bit outside the box.
James Maddison doesn't get picked.
James Maddison, very creative, doesn't quite fall into line with what Southgate wants. And Southgate, he was a defender, wasn't he, by his trade? So I think that's his mindset. And Trent, he's not a bad defender by any stretch of imagination, but his go-to sort of modus operandi is to attack and influence in the final third, and I don't think that suits the way Southgate wants to play. I think the formation is a great point as well. Like, Trent plays, and he's given a free role for Liverpool. How often do we see him just in the middle of midfield, even playing as a false nine sometimes, because Klopp gives him licence, and that's what makes him so brilliant for us. He's allowed to go and attack, and he does vacate space, and sometimes we do lament him for doing that, but he is a superb footballer. He's a wonderful. We had the conversation last week about gifted footballers, and I put Trent in there because he was born to kick a ball around. He's incredible at it, but he does have deficiencies, and that is just a mental thing more than anything else. When he is in a position to defend, I actually think he's really good at it, but I think it's the fact he vacates that situation so often. But as for the England stuff, like I say, people call him out because people, like I say, are stupid and people can't get their own opinion. But there are also some people, I think Gary Lineker's been a big advocate of sticking up for him. And I think he just sees the talent the kid has. And if you can't get a player who's broken assist records from right back and he's won everything, if you can't get him in the side, that's England's loss. That's not Liverpool's loss.
The best managers always build their side around the players, and they build the formations around the players.
You can't do that, though.
You can't. Gareth Southgate can't do that. He's got a formation, a style of football that he wants, and he can't seem to get the best players working in it. If you're writing a list of England's most talented footballers, Trent Alexander-Arnold is 100% top three. 100%
I would say Harry Kane and Trent are the two world-class players England have got in their squad. Jude Bellingham is very young. Right.
And I cast it out wide, so I could throw 100% in there. Three. I put him in the top two as well.
Yeah.
As you. But there ain't no way in most talented footballers Trent's outside that top three.
No, it's
just a system thing, isn't it? Then? Yeah.
But the
which is down to the manager, and which is why he'll lose his job, and why the next manager will come in and put Trent Alexander-Arnold in at right back.
Again, I don't know. There's a lot on England that I get it. But like, if it's me, and my opinion is, I walk in and go, who are my best players? Trent, world class. Kane, world class. Can I make a system that gets the best out of those two, and I'll fill the rest around it? For me, it feels like, Chris, that you're right about the system thing. I think actually Trent, in theory, wing back should suit him better than full back, but he doesn't really play it. It feels to me like England's centre back options are so shit that he has to play three of them, which is why then he goes, well, I can't afford to let Trent have a free role even as a wing back because my defenders are so crap. So therefore, and I don't think...
The mad thing is, I actually think Kyle Walker's a really good right-sided of a three centre because he's got both, and he's got the pace to cover for Trent Alexander-Arnold. People always say, like, oh, he's crap because he just uses his pace. Pace is one of his fucking things. He's allowed to use it. Like, you know what I mean? Mo Salah wouldn't be as good a player if he was as slow as me. It's just part and parcel of why they are professional footballers and they get to the level that they are. Kyle Walker's really good at footy, and he's really good at that role, and he'd cover Trent Alexander-Arnold really well in that situation. Clearly the manager just doesn't fancy it, and the difference why I think you need a manager who can mould a system around players, it's more important for international football than any other. Because if you're Jose Mourinho and you've got a plan, you can buy players in fucking Premier League or in Serie A or La Liga or wherever you are. You just don't get the options. You've got to play with what you've got as an England manager. So you need to be able to look at your best players and go, I've got to build something that suits these guys, not the other way around if you want to do well.
The flip side, look at this from a Liverpool point of view, Dan, is that this happened, it was during the lockdown season when Trent coming. I think Southgate left him out again for
left
something,
out, yeah.
and he'd been up and down form. And I don't think anyone would disagree that Trent hasn't had a good start to the season. I think we'd all agree. Again, if the manager, if Gareth Southgate, the England manager, was picking his squad based purely on form, Trent probably wouldn't be in it. But then Harry Maguire wouldn't be in it, and Luke Shaw wouldn't be in it. So that's the contradiction of terms. But I think it's fair to say last time it happened, Trent scores the goal against Villa. It was around then, remember, and it starts answering his critics, and he ends that season in pretty good form, actually, and does well. From a Liverpool point of view, again, looking at if Trent, if he did need a bit of a kick up the arse, because he hasn't really had one at club level, because no one's been able to take his place, because we haven't had anyone. If he wants to be in the World Cup, which is ludicrous, he should be. England's 26 best players, he should be. But whatever. If he really wants to guarantee himself a place, like that could benefit Liverpool, because like I say, he's had no competition at club level. Now he's got to an international level with some really good players. He isn't even never mind getting in the team. He's got to get on the plane. Like that could benefit Liverpool. It's bonkers, but it is what it is. That's the situation he found himself in.
Yeah,
it could benefit us.
Of course, he's got a point to prove, hasn't he? He's absolutely no two ways about it. Yeah, he's got a point to prove again, and it's almost as if the volume of noise around Trent could get too much for him to ignore. Like if he does come back now and plays at his best for us, like he's more than capable of doing. He hasn't had a good start, but I think it's the previous that's kind of made it such a talking point. Like form-wise, I don't think anyone could really argue that. Yeah, okay, maybe he doesn't deserve to be starting for England or whatever, which is still a conversation for me. But it's the fact that Southgate's done this before with him and players of a similar ilk, and I honestly believe it's players that don't quite conform to his sort of standard. I'm not saying he's a bad apple by any stretch of imagination. I just think he's that way inclined whereby he just wants to be creative, and I think that what Southgate's asking him to do doesn't quite fit.
He does struggle with creativity.
Same for Maddison, same for Grealish, and I think if you had like a Paul Gascoigne, he'd really struggle with him in years gone by, and I just don't think it suits his mindset. But yeah, I think from our point of view, it's but arguably the best thing that could have happened. Like our main concern every time the international breaks come around of our players getting flogged, playing 90 minutes in pointless games and coming
John
back.
John Stones does his hamstring last night.
Exactly. And you look at that and you think, God, thank God Trent isn't there. You know what I mean? Because you do. And you think, yeah, now he's come back. A, he hasn't kicked the ball in anger. And B, he's thinking, I do want to be part of that World Cup squad, so I need to play. And I think what happened with Grealish, to go back to him, is that he was playing for, I think he might be still been at Villa, and he got too much to ignore for Southgate. And Trent will be hoping the same can be happening for him. He can have a really boss month now, and the noise around the press, he'll just have to take him, and that could be the case.
Yeah, he almost got bullied into taking Jack Grealish.
I don't think he wanted to.
No, he's really against it. And I remember in that Euros when the crowds were allowed back in, Jack Grealish was like the most popular player, because it was almost like England fans saying, we just need something. Whether I don't think Trent can ever be that, because I don't think, could he play for Liverpool? Like Grealish
from the crowd point of view.
Yeah, from the crowd point of view. Villa, it was different, like, you know what I mean? Like, there was no one gave a fuck, with all due respect. Like, you'll never get full backing for a Liverpool player off the England fan base for all the obvious reasons that we know about. But like Dan says, because he can make it, just no doubt. Like, you have to take me. What I don't understand is that I get it if you think he can't defend. I don't agree with it, but I can see a point of view. If Gareth Southgate wants his team to be really solid, and we'll try and get set pieces, and we'll try and get one to fall to Harry Kane. They got to a Euros final playing in a very similar way. They got to a World Cup semis doing something very similar. My thing about it, Chris, is that, yeah, but at some point you're going to be 1-0 down or 1-1, and then you're looking for something different, and you go, well, what can I do? Well, I can bring Kieran Trippier on for Reece James. Okay, they're not that much different. Or I can bring Trent is that point of difference. Surely, if you're a manager, if you want your first 22 to be robots, sound, but have 4 fucking mavericks who can just do something, because you might just need something out of the box. That's why that baffles me.
To be not in the 26 is just stupid. It's actually bordering on gross negligence from the manager there, because that's what it is. Like, there's no way in hell that Trent Alexander-Arnold shouldn't be on that plane. Like, I can understand if someone says, and I'm with you, and I'll phrase it this way, he's not the best defender in the squad. That's different to he's shit at defending. Completely different. Yeah. Trent Alexander-Arnold is not the best defensive right back in the Premier League. I understand that. But like, we don't just base it on what they do defensively. You do have to base it on what they do in their all-round game. You know what I mean? So for me, Trent's there. You can get a free kick out of him sometimes. You can obviously get a game completely broken open with him. You know, when you see what Reece James did last night with the cross for, who was Luke Shaw's goal. I mean, it's just a pretty standard cross, isn't it? Trent Alexander-Arnold can do that all day. He can do much better than that. You can play a ball in outside of the boot, chip it, drill it like it's a friggin' driver, curl it. He's got everything in his locker, and he knows how to use it, and crucially when to use it. So of course you'd bring Trent. You'd be mad not to bring Trent Alexander-Arnold. He's amazing at footy.
The flip side of going back to that is that we mentioned before, like, it could work really well for Trent. He could, light that fire and get it.
Yeah.
Also, the rest of the team, Liverpool team, needs to improve, and you'll show a better Trent Alexander-Arnold.
100%.
It's not just on Trent Alexander-Arnold why Liverpool aren't doing well this season. I know that's not what anyone's saying either, but the way we're talking about it is like he's not had the best start to the season. No one's had a good start to this fucking season for Liverpool.
That's the case for so many of our players. Just to say, I know this is off topic, but I've seen so many people calling out X, Y, Z. I'm not going to even name names; it's not worth it. But we're not playing well as a collective. You could go the other way with us at the minute and say he is playing well and he is playing well, and probably leave it at that. So that's why
one of them's Harvey Elliott.
Well, and probably Louis Diaz. I'd probably having the same.
And that's
conversation.
about it.
Thiago for half a game.
Thiago for and even Alisson you could throw into the mix for. But outside of that, we are struggling. So when you're calling out individuals, whether it be Trent or anyone, you need to look at the bigger context and the wider pitch and say Liverpool. And Liverpool need to play well, especially for someone like Trent, to get the best out of him, in my opinion, because we know where his strengths lie, and we need to be good for that to happen.
Yeah, and it's easy for the likes of Luke Shaw and Harry Maguire because they're not playing badly because they're not fucking playing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which comes back to the stupidness. But Luke Shaw's defending for their third goal or was it their second goal was terrible.
Reece James loses the Nick Pope error. Reece James loses.
Reece James goes fucking on a one there, and then Luke Shaw comes in and tries to shoulder barge Kai Havertz and completely loses out, and he lets Havertz get goal side. This is the defender that you do trust.
Yeah, none of them
which
are
is
brilliant.
baffling. No, exactly.
James and Kyle Walker in particular, you're right about Walker. He's a good player and his pace is a thing and he's allowed to be quick. I'm fully on board with that. But at the same time, his decision making defensively leaves a lot to be desired sometimes. Yeah. And you're giving up a lot of Trent's creativity to have somebody who's okay at defending. I'm not entirely sure that works.
Yeah, I 100% agree, by the way. I want to go back to the point I made earlier about lighting a fire under Trent's arse. It could give a rocket up his arse. The flip side, Chris, is that it's pressure. He's a kid still. He's 23. And again, he reacts just because he reacted well last time doesn't mean he reacts well now. That the if you're looking at it from a glass half empty point of view, is that all the eyes of the world are on Trent, and he knows he's battling for that World Cup spot. Like, yeah, you can respond, and it could really, really do well. But on the flip side, it can also get in your head a little bit. You know what I mean? And if that, it's one.
This is where the Liverpool fans are doing right on Twitter, though, because Trent will see this. Trent's family will see this, and we know Trent's got a really good sort of family group, close knit with his brother and his cousins and all that type of stuff. So this is where, like, Liverpool fans defending him, he'll see all that, and he'll be like, that's what he wants, really, more than anything. Is he wants the Liverpool fans to be talking shit about the other players, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Trent's the best right back in the world. Like, it's blindingly obvious. He'll hear all that as well. So I'm not too concerned about that, because this is a lad that's won everything at club level already, and not just like one of the young lads in the squad who happened to pick up a medal like a Kurt Jones during the Premier League win or something
Brewster
like that.
with the Champions League medal.
Yeah, this isn't one of them. This is an integral part. He's one of the reasons why we won it, not just like in the 11 or anything else. What he did during those campaigns meant that Liverpool were able to win it. You know, there's no Champions League without a corner taken quickly. Like, I mean, you know, there you go, right there. So this is a lad that's won it all and will have confidence in his own ability, and I truly believe that. You can go through bad form as a player. Every player in world football has gone through bad form at a time. This might be Trent's, and it might be that this is the rocket up his arse that he needed, because, as you say, he did it last time.
But the flip side is that we're going to have to... the rallying call that's been happening on social media a little bit it'll be translating to the manager. The manager will be aware of this. His teammates, the fans in the stadiums who can make a difference as well in terms of noise about it. It does feel like everyone could do with getting really, really behind Trent here. And again, he'll respond one or two ways. It'll make him or break him kind of thing. You know what I mean? I'm sure he'll be sound because he's a mentally strong kid. You just hope it works out for the better, not for the worse. Because what you don't want is Trent having do I want to do, like, split out because I want to play for England. Does that mean I don't make that run? or does that mean I don't play this pass? You don't want that because you take it away from his game. He just needs to be solely focused on it, which I'm sure he can be.
Yeah.
But that's the only bit of cloud. You don't want anything to cloud how he does his Liverpool job. Just you need to go and do that, and the England thing, it is what it is.
I'd like to think. Well, he should know. His priority should be Liverpool, in my opinion, anyway. But he should know the only thing that's going to get him in the mix for that or on that plane is going to be outstanding performances for us. But it's almost like the opposite of what we said before about our players needing a bit of a break and going away and playing with different groups of people and enjoying themselves a little bit. Trent's gone away. Had half a shit time, and he won't be able to wait to get back to the action and train with us again. He'll be buzzing. He can't wait to see Klopp again, and somebody's going to put an arm around him and say, you know what, we know how good you are. Like, Klopp is almost bound to talk about him in his press conference this week. That is almost definitely.
He could be asked, isn't he?
He does it all the
give
time.
him the captain's armband, you know.
He does it all the time anyway. He's almost called out Southgate for saying, I think he's the best right back in the world. I don't know what that fella's seeing. And that's how it should be. And it's similar to sort of the discourse you see on Twitter, but when Klopp does it as well, it's obviously got that even more credence behind it. Exactly, yeah. So Trent will hear all that, but like I say, he won't be able to wait to get back and put a Liverpool shirt on again and train and then get out there on site, especially at Anfield. It's the perfect storm for him. And listen, I'm always optimistic anyway, but I hope and believe he could have a huge. We speak about 9 games, 29 days here. He could be a massive factor in this.
Fingers crossed, Liverpool could do with it because, like I say, a fit Trent Alexander-Arnold playing well, Liverpool will win more games, and that's exactly what we need. Right, then we're going to start wrapping up there. Like I say, watching this on YouTube right now, go and subscribe. It's right below this screen. Go and do it. Click it now. Get in the hat to win this, a signed shirt by Ibu Konate as soon as we hit that amazing 500,000 landmark, which is awesome for us on the channel. So go and support the channel by subscribing. It doesn't cost you a penny, obviously. Subscribe on YouTube and get to the 500,000. Get yourself a chance to win that amazing prize. We're going to take a break now. We're going to be back later on over on Redmen Plus with Podcast Extra. Chris Pajak is going to tell us exactly what it's like to be out in Las Vegas with Ronnie Whelan and Bruce Grobbelaar, as well as Paul and a host of others, Mark Kenny and all the guys there as well. Me and Dan are going to be asking about Mancadden in cricket as well. Is it right? Is it wrong? If you don't know what that means, come and check out Podcast Extra and you'll find out. He's got no idea. He's got no idea. In fact, I want to know later on what you think it is, and then we'll find out as well. So yeah, all that is going to be over on Podcast Extra a bit later on. So yeah, do come and join us. I can tell you right now what I think it is. I'll save it for extra. Okay. Save it for extra. Right. Save. Oh, extra's going to be huge. It's a jam-packed extra. So yeah, it is basically all the shit that we can't say on YouTube, basically, because we might get cancelled. We're going to put that behind the paywall in the family circle of trust. Come and join us there. Keep an eye out on the YouTube channel. Of course, we're going to be building up to the Brighton game because the Reds are almost back. That'll be Thursday for the build-up and for the starting 11 as well. And then, of course, the watch-along on Saturday. If you've never joined us for a watch-along before, come and join me and Errol live on YouTube for the entire game. I'm sure we'll all love it. I'm sure you guys love this show. I love doing it, so thanks very much to Dan. Thanks very much to Chris. And we'll be back in a little bit on Podcast Extra over on Plus. See you all soon. Hey, what's happening, everyone? Hope you enjoyed that show. If you did, please do give the video a like and subscribe to the channel as well. If you want even more Liverpool content, even in video or podcast form, do check out Redmen Plus, our subscription service. Tons and tons of great Liverpool content, both in video and podcast forms. Check it out. You will love it.